it may be loud in the background because they got a basketball game. Can you hear it?
Man, you a coach. And they don't understand that. What you want me to do with it? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yep.
All right, what's up, man? It's your boy Moondog 3732. Hey, man, this right here probably my most requested interview, man, for the knockout, man. I got none other than Coach Cedric Thomas, man. Hey, man, what's up with you, Coach?
Man, I'm surprised you ain't throw that Cedric out there, man. Man, I'm chilling,
Nah,
man. I'm blessed. Everything good.
I'm gonna keep it, not for the put, you know what I'm saying? Cedric D, you know what I'm saying? But nah, everybody know they know what's up. But let's go and get the thing started, man. I know you're a busy man. I know you got stuff to do, but just in case for the people that don't know you, man, where you from, first of all?
Man, Cleveland, Cleveland, Mississippi. You know, born and raised. You know, started off on Mullen Road by that cemetery, man. And then transitioned to 1303 South Christmas. And so, you know, that's where I'm from. I'm a product of B.L. Bell, um, Eastwood, Eastside High School.
All right. Speaking of you know, being from Cleveland and stuff like that, man, like how did you grow up, man? You know, like a lot of people from Cleveland, man, they grew up in certain situations, but how was your upbringing, man?
You know, for me, you know, it was cool. It was fun. It was adventurous. It was exciting. You know, I was the only child for about 4 or 5 years, or maybe 3 or 4 years, and so you know, it was real inquisitive. You know, I really enjoyed it. It was fast. You know, I had some really good cousins. You know, really good family, big family. And so, you know, it was an exciting time back in the 80s, especially in Cleveland. You know, you could go to, you know, the Eaton Center. You could walk to the public library. You know, you could go to the swimming pool for a quarter. You know, it was some good times back then, man. You know, good flag for good sideline kill games.
Yeah.
You know, playing 21 and playing scotch. You know, it was a lot of fun. You know, wasn't no shooting, killing per se, but it was a lot of fighting. You know, it was a lot of fighting.
Man.
You know, I lost more than I won, but it wasn't about winning or losing per se. It was about fighting and defending yourself. So, man, my childhood kind of you know molded me into who I am now. A lot of friendships that I established back then, I still got to this day. And so it was just some good times growing up, man. You know, back in the town.
All right. Hey, with that being said, man, where did you go to high school at? You know, I heard you say East Side, but like, what's East Side? Like, a lot of people don't know what East Side. When I tell people about East Side, they be think I'm talking about like Joe Clark, man.
Yeah, it was, you know, it could be, you know, because Coach Biles would have been that. Man, it was, you know, it was the club, it was the barbershop, you know, it was the Votech, man, it was the athletics, man, it was a community within itself. It was the place where from 9th through 12th grade, man, if I could or was able to iron my clothes to get ready, because I knew you had to be, you know, fresh. It was the standard. Man, if I could go back as an adult and still do my job here and go to school with the same people every day, man, it was the coolest thing ever. Man, I love Eastside, everything about it. It kind of put you in an HBCU groove. That's really what it was. It kind of prepped you, you know, for the sector that I am in now. And so, you know, it was a family reunion every day. And them same characteristics of what I went through growing up, it definitely prepared me you know, for walking them hallways of the best side, you know, which was East Side High School.
Yeah, I was telling people about homecoming and they don't really understand homecoming. I'm like, man, you ever come to it? Even though East Side got closed down, we still have East Side homecoming. If you come to an East Side homecoming, man, it's gonna be one of the most beautiful experiences that you've ever seen. So,
Man, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. And shout out to the leaders, you know what I'm saying, who got that established. That was
yeah, they keeping it going. Never say die, right? So, why didn't you like? I know you were a coach, but why didn't you like coach Eastside? Like being an Eastside football coach.
you know, really never had an opportunity. I was only you know, asked one time by a particular coach, and I ain't gonna name drop. However, you know, at that time I was in the college ranks, but that one coach, you know, I didn't think it was he wasn't ready, and I didn't think administration was ready because he addressed me as cat.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I didn't think that was the professionalism part for me because it was Coach Thomas. It was Coach Said, back then. And so when that coach
Yeah.
reached out to me, about working at Eastside at the time, he addressed me as a cat, and I thought that wasn't professionalism from a standpoint of them actually being ready, or I hadn't done enough work in the profession to one would address me accordingly. So therefore, that kind of deterred me at that time for getting the opportunity to coach at my high school alma mater.
I got you. So, did you like play any sports coming up? Sometimes I've seen people like me, a Bill Belichick. He may or may not have played. It's coaches that's on the sideline that have never actually put on any pads or dribbled a basketball.
Yeah, man, I was cold, and I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but I'm just really realizing from a physical stature, I'm kind of small because in my mind, growing up in Alo Park, being able to travel over to East Side Park and in anybody's front yard or Jeff Glover them, spot beside their home, we was getting it in. And so the thing that I get is how I get tied into football because, I was, starting basketball 8th, 9th grade,
Right.
and so playing since I was 7th grade, of course, growing up, everybody did football, and we had one of the best flag football and some of the greatest coaches. You rest in peace to Coach Flowers, rest in peace to Mr. Perry, who just lost, his life. But those guys, man, they gave me a foundation for this great game and a format for living just through the hard work, the discipline. Seeing Coach Flowers, bring the chicks in. Everybody got the same color, everybody uniform. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got that index finger pointed to the sky like that set the standard, and I always took mental notes, not knowing that I'd be a head coach, but taking those things, 30 years and 40 years later to sit there and say, okay, now that I'm a leader, of men, I'll understand the uniformity, and midnight and all them guys from baseball, just the way we grew up. I kept all mental notes of that, and that prepared me, for the seat for both times that I've been a head coach. So yeah, I played. I was really good in basketball. Decided to play football. Just because everybody told me I was too little and couldn't do it, and went out there and was pretty good at it. Had a lot of interceptions. My junior year, senior year, go back. I mean, my senior year had opportunity to gain a scholarship at Mississippi Delta, signed with UAPB in football and basketball out of high school. But because of academic ignorance, I only made a 15 on the test. I took it 5 times. My parents didn't go to college and graduate, nor did they attend. So they didn't understand. They just thought you get through with the high school curriculum and you just go to college, and they didn't understand, taking out loans and getting scholarships. So I couldn't get into Pine Bluff because of the academics. But that same coach told me if I go to Mississippi Delta and I got my associates that, he would still have that scholarship for me. So that was one of the first times, like I said before, of a man just holding his word outside of my family. And I thought just that man of integrity, man, it really just shaped and molded me. And so yeah, I was involved heavily in sports, man. My pops, and so I was always in the front yard, catching baseballs, catching footballs, and playing football and basketball. And so yeah, it really it kind of helped me. It just I deterred to football, even though if you go ask anybody in Cleveland, what was I known for from an athletic standpoint, they'll say basketball.
Yeah, man. Y'all don't know, man. His dad was a heavy Cowboys fan. I would go down there, man. I'm trying to watch some Saturday cartoons or something else. Watch some HBO on Sunday. Nah, you better turn to
None
that
of it.
game or go
None
outside.
of it. Hey, and when they
If you want
lose,
to watch your
everybody
football,
outside.
you better go
Everybody.
outside.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
don't let them win. Everybody got to get out the house.
oh man. All right, here we go. So run us through your coaching resume, because a lot of coaches they coach at multiple spots until they finally find that fit for them. Where have you like coached?
So for me, I was a student assistant, man. One of the best things that happened to me. My background. And you pretty much was there, raised in the house right up the road from me. So, I got two broke collarbones. Ayo and Moondog fans. He responsible for one of them. Uh, I got two broke collarbones and a broke leg, man, before the age of 13. And so, small story, that happens to me. Dr. Brown told me, I couldn't play anymore. My mom took me off formula at an early age, so I got, small bones and bones that didn't mature at a faster rate that it should for my age. And here I am with a broke leg and two broke collarbones before the age of 13. And so Dr. Brown, tell my mom, I probably won't play football again. So I'm crying and she trying to figure out the answer. So she take me to Reverend Rash. And here's where my faith come in at. He sat down and he talked to me and talked to me about prayer. And he talked to me about faith and believing that is which, not seen. And I couldn't see it at the time. And so, man, I prayed. And from the age of 13 on, man, I never had another injury, so I can speak just on the power of prayer and God being good to me, regardless of what others may call it, the name. But that was one of the spiritual backgrounds that kind of helped me. And so once I got to Pine Bluff, after the 2 years of Mississippi Delta, I noticed, it was just taking me longer to get out the training room. You play a game on Saturday, you go get treatment on Sunday, you off Monday. But it was taking me, man, Tuesday, Wednesday to just mentally and physically get back in the groove, to play. And so I couldn't do it anymore. I had one more year left of eligibility, and I went to my DB coach. I just told coach, if I gotta stay on the team to maintain my scholarship, I can do it. But coach, I'm hurting. And he told me he allowed me to be a student assistant, and that laid the foundation for me. The first thing was them same guys I was hanging out with, going to the club. I'm a football player. It's family. Anybody that's been a part of any kind of organized sports or any kind of organization, the brotherhood of it. But yet, once I turned into the administration side and become a coach, when I come in the dorm now, everybody putting things up, they scattering things, and everybody looking, like I'm the feds, And so one of my coaches just taught me that I had to, yeah, I had to split that. I'm different now, and I had to separate myself. And so I thought I did a really good job of still being who I was, at the school I was at, pledging, being associated with the greatest fraternity ever, but still being, true to those guys, or what was going on in the dorm. And then I just took off from there. So from there, I had opportunity to be a graduate assistant at Alcorn State. Dr. Thomas did that for a year. Got my first job at UT Martin, and left after 2 years, and was at Mississippi Delta Itawamba College. And in 2012, man, I hit one of the biggest licks of my life. Jay Hobson, who had been at Florida, Michigan, um, Memphis, Southern Miss twice. He gave me opportunity to coach DBs at Alcorn, and man, it just took off from there. And so I did about 6 years here as a position coach, became a coordinator, and then I got opportunity to be the head coach of my alma mater. And what a blessing. That same coach that gave me opportunity, man, because I didn't have a high enough ACT score after I got my associates. He was still there. And so I got a chance to be a head coach there. Had the first winning season um, in about 10 years. Turned the program around, helped lay a really good foundation, got it better than where I left it. And after 2 years, I transitioned back to Southern Miss because I understood purge, I understood retirement, I understood, my highest 4 years. And your pops, Moondog was vital to that because, when I would come over to the house, when I got to the crib, he was always talk about that 13 check. He would always talk about his highest score. He would always talk about retirement. And so that laid the foundation of me of, I don't want to, 75, 72, 80 years old if I don't have to be. I watched my dad go over to Delta State and, have to work. Now, he enjoyed it, but I don't know if he would have did that, if he had a retirement sector. And so I just vowed that if I had opportunity to do it, to get back to Mississippi and work on my highest four, I would do it. And the Southern Miss deal came open. It was a great experience. My first time, for my second time out of the HBCU sector. I learned a lot, met a lot of really good coaches, a lot of good people. And so, after COVID, we got fired. I got fired. And so, we sitting there, with the fork in the road, like, what do we do? My wife is an educator. And so, and a God-fearing woman. Therefore, it wasn't no problems at home. So I got to get out and find it. Got opportunity to interview at Mississippi Delta and the first black head football coach at Mississippi Delta. And so, I'm looking for somebody to give me the data. I think right now I may be the only coach that has coached at his 4-year alma mater and his 2-year alma mater. If anybody can, steer me in the right direction, it'll really be appreciated. And so after that, we had the first winning season in about 15, almost 20 years. Turned that place around after 1 year. Got opportunity to get back with Coach Mack 2 years ago at Alcorn State. And, as of 35 days ago, I became the head coach here. So that's kind of been my journey where I've been, man. And it's really been a blessing. Got a great support staff with my mom, my wife, my son, my daughter. And so, man, I'm just blessed.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. Now, if y'all didn't hear that, man, that's right there is a journey. That right there is called perseverance. That right there is not giving up on your dream and looking for other avenues that may be different than what you have thought was the right road. Man, stuff will present itself if you're looking for it. You know what I'm saying? That's what he basically said. Now, I heard you say something about an organization. Like, what organization did you join? You say it's the greatest. What is it?
Oh, Omega Psi Phi. That
you got to
purple and
make it
gold,
out.
man. Real cute out. Omega men. Yeah. Yep.
All right, now, Coach, you've been in all these different places.
Shout out to the Q.
Y'all ever won like a championship or anything like that? You talking about the swag and stuff like that, but like, y'all won like a swag championship or something?
Yeah, man, I'm blessed. I got my 4 rings sitting at the crib now, man. We was 2014. We actually doing a anniversary deal for them on their 10-year anniversary. We won Black College National Champions in 2014. We was the first participants in the Celebration Bowl. We won the conference, won the Western Conference. We was Western Conference champions. We won the SWAC champions. Where it was the East. I'm sorry, it was the Eastern Conference championship. Won the SWAC championship and fell short. Celebration Bowl, but not only that, Dre, I was able to come back and do it again. We was able to go back to back, winning not only the conference but the SWAC as a whole. And so that was my first time being a part of, ultimately championship. In Eastside, we lost to Tunica Roosevelt in basketball. I think the score was 61-67. Or 61-68 is somewhere in there. And, I had a major part in not being able to achieve that. They go boxing one on one of our better players. They leave me open. I couldn't make enough, shots from the perimeter. And that always stuck with me, and then I get to Mississippi Delta. We play for the state championship against Hines versus Fred Smoot. Shout out to rest in peace to Cedric Lucas. He was a part of that team, man. We miss you, Tat. And, we lose that state championship game. So in my mind, it's almost like I'm a loser, because I hadn't won anything, but a part of some great teams, but I never reached that ultimate goal. So I just thought, it was just kind of me and my mentality, and I wasn't good enough because I would always watch the NCAA tournament. I'm a North Carolina fan, and, watching them guys, winning, seeing that confetti fall down and wondering what that feels like. And, man, in 2014, I remember clear as day, we in Houston. And once that game is completed, I watched both of those scores, that Hines score and that Eastside High School score, come off the scoreboard, and it just erased. And from then on, man, I never thought about, losing those 2 games. I just always post, or I just put something out there like I know what it feels like on both sides. I know what it feels like for that confetti to fall down on your head and win and triumph. But I also know what it feels like, in defeat. And so we go those first 2 years, 14 to 15, Dre, we win it. And the next 2, we lose it. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum from a championship standpoint. But yeah, I got rings and things put up.
All right. Now, what would you say is your coaching style? Because, each coach has this, each coach there's that. Go back to Belichick. Belichick might be stoic. He'll go in on Tom Brady to make an example out of Tom Brady, to let everybody else know that, hey, man, it's a team. Ain't no one person bigger than the team. So what would you say is your coaching style?
I would say it's adaptable. It's player friendly. I let once the guys show me that they are mature enough to be able to handle the discipline aspect. I love the input of them asking why. I'm a teacher. My wife, like I said, is an educator. So I'm real, fickle on, understanding the 18, 19, 20-year-old brain and how it functions under certain situations. So I'm huge on that. But the biggest thing, I would say is players. I'm a players coach. I want to know, what makes them tick. How can I put them in the best position to be successful? I'm really good at what I do, just from the X and O standpoint. But it's a lot of good coaches that's good with X and O's. I think what separate me is I got a story and I coach off of life. Our mission and vision is to take the same characteristics of football and apply it to life. Because once football over, these young men still got to go out in society and be productive citizens. They got to be good fathers. They got to be good husbands. They got to be good dads, good brothers. And so I just want to use them same characteristics, that's associated with the game that they can use once they get out in life. And so I think that's the extra part, that it ain't just about W's and L's. We don't let numerical, define us. If an 80 is your best, and that's what my mom would tell me. If I studied and did everything I could, and an 85 was all I had, all she wanted was my best. And so an 85 or 85, that's 100. That's that. Because I didn't make an 86 or didn't make 100, that don't make me a loser, or a B don't make me not smart or not intelligent. And so if your score is higher than mine at the end of 4 quarters, that don't mean I'm a loser. And so nor does W's and L's define us as alphabets. So I thought once we kind of broke that down and I understood that part, that we can still be winners, and our day-to-day approach is how we prepare. And once it's all over, how can we get out in society and function as a productive citizen? Man, we winners. And so that's kind of who I am and how I formulated, my thought process, and how I got to where I am today, just from a philosophy standpoint.
All right, now a lot of things have changed these last couple of years dealing with college football. You got the NIL deals, you got the portal, and things like that. So why, how do you get a student to commit to Alcorn? Like, why Alcorn? Why the SWAC out of all other places that they could go?
One, yeah, one is free. That's the most important thing when you start talking about finance. What I want to tell mamas and daddies is he ain't got to pay for school. You talking about taking out a 80, 60, $70,000 loan with a 24% interest rate. It'd be a long time before you get through paying for that. So the first thing is free, but Alcorn in itself is an acquired taste. It's kind of like, seafood or sushi. If you like it or you don't. And so we get a lot of young adults that really love being in the rural area, that understand the ag part of it. But it's a great place. It's family. Bricks and mortars, don't establish relationships. It's a lot of people inside the bricks and mortars that's gonna give you a relationship forever. And so these buildings, may look as such, but you got to go inside the building to meet the people. You ain't gonna find a greater set of people, that represent this outside of Alcorn, man. And it's a great place. It's a really good place. It's a good for the majoring standpoint. Socially is good for you. Spiritually is good. It'll touch all your bases as a young adult. And so regardless of the transfer portal, for me, the culture overrides the individual. You got a great culture, and the culture sets itself. We don't look for the eyes, we look for the we's, and we want people to be a part of the culture, and we call those cultural fixtures. And so if you want to be a part of a cultural fixture and come in and be a part of something and not the something, then it's a great place for you. But you can't find a greater place, than Alcorn State when it comes to not only the football aspect or sports, but just the educational piece and the social status and everything that comes with it.
All right, now how do you, as a coach, how do you manage all those different pieces and all those different personalities? I mean, Phil Jackson and stuff like that. You had Michael Jordan, you had all these, you had Dennis Rodman. But as a coach, man, how do you all these personalities, man? Like, how does that even work?
Well, just a little backstory, Drake. Like I told you, as far as me playing basketball, in ninth grade, I was starting. And so I'm dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old, ones that was older than me. And you got a guard on this side that he want to shoot it, X amount of times. You got this guard on this side. He want the ball too. You got the guy down low. He want the ball. You got this person, setting screens, and you got to, appease him. And and I thought, my basketball coach, shout out to Coach Griffin, he allowed me to do that at a young age. So I understood the psychological part of getting the ball to Mike on the wing early to kind of get him moving, get him going. Koff was already, he was microwave man when he stepped foot in the gym, he was already ready. And so, but you still had to make sure you don't go to him too many times because Koff looking at you sideways, and then you got Dorsett on the block. He the young gunner and he want the ball. He tired of playing defense. Clerk down there grinding as an undersized power forward, and you got to make sure he get his touches. And so, I'm 13, 14 years old as a ninth grader, and I got to deal with all this, and Coach Griffin allowed me to. So that kind of set the stage for me to understand, all the psychological things that you got to be aware of outside of the X's and O's. And man, I was blessed to be able to go through that 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade to see how personalities change, how behavior change, for the good and the bad, and how I got to adapt with change. But it really set the tone for me to get in this seat. And now for me, it's only so many personalities that you have that's going to walk this universe. And so I've crossed paths with, I think, every personality that's known to man. And so for me, it's being fair and understanding, just setting the mission and the vision for what's at stake. And once you do that and you set them guidelines, it kind of just run itself. You can't be treated like with the NIL. We got some guys that actually get paid. Who would ever thought that guys from a HBCU sector or even at Alcorn, he get paid to play football. That's on top of his, refund check. Where back in the day, that's all you had. So, I got to treat him different because of his status, but I also got to be fair. And some ones can't get treated like Malachi get treated. That's the all conference kid that's getting, what the youngsters say, getting the bag. And so, but I got to make sure Malachi understand that them guys that's blocking for him or the guys that's taking up them blocks is the reason why he's having success. So, my thing is I'm gonna be fair. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be honest and I'm gonna be upfront. And at the end of the day, it's a man's love, and I'm always tell you why. Every player in this building know they can come up to my office and they can hash out, their discrepancies or their thought processes, and I will give them my assessment. Some don't always like it, some respect it, but some understand it. And a lot of times they want is a voice. They just want to know the why. And once I tell them the why, it's kind of like, okay, coach, I know where you stand. And so ultimately that's how I deal with all the, the personalities, here being in this seat of leadership. And that's what coaches too, Dre, you got to coach coaches. Coaches change. Coaches see, raises going on, and somebody at another school, his position may be making $50,000 or $60,000 more. So, he feel like he doing the same amount of work. And so I have to lay the platform for not only the young adults, but for the coaches also. So, I pride myself in doing that. And everybody understand no elephants in the room, and everybody know, what's the mission and the vision to get things accomplished.
All right. Now, Coach, we know that winning has a certain way of making people feel as well as losing. So how do you keep people motivated after winning so many games and after losing so many games? How do they keep that competitive fire?
So for me, we got a thing, we call it club locker room. So we party, when we win, we work hard, we play hard, we win, we celebrate. We got about really 30 hours to really just indulge in that work that we've done. So when you see our Instagrams or our Facebooks or all of the social media sites, we having fun in the locker room. And so we want to keep having that feeling. But when it's over, when those 30 hours over, we know right now it's on to the next one. We gotta get ready and prepare for the next one. And that's how life is. Because I told you everything we do is indicative of how life is. You can reach one particular goal at the age of 30 or 35 and get that big promotion. But yet, does that motivate you forever? Finances going up, prices are going up. So that price you might have been paying on that particular car or things that you're paying for, it eventually, if you don't continue to work to get better and get, whether 35,000 or $60,000 or $80,000 or $100,000, then you're just stuck in one spot. And so I just talked to them about, guys, we can't be, just laying dormant and being satisfied with the last one. So from a winning standpoint, we always motivated about it because we know how much hard work we put into it. So we enjoy it. And then losing, we don't let it beat us up. We always say, don't let this one, lose the next one for you. And so the same thing, once we fall short, we shake it off after 30 hours and we on to the next one. But we also give them examples in life of how some things gonna go well, and you can't bask in the glory too long. You got to get up and you got to keep moving. You got to keep going. And then, the same thing with losing, because I talked to him about, this get out the hood mentality where you do everything you got to do to get out the hood, but yet and still we still see people come back, because when you get out, that get out the hood mentality, there's a lot of responsibility come with getting out the hood. You got to bring people with you. People think you change or they may change because you at a certain stature now. And so you get a lot of people that don't want to deal with their responsibilities, or they don't know how to maintain once they get to that level. Therefore, they fall back into the trap of getting back to the hood. And we're just using hood, as an example, because we know it's not a location. It's really a mindset, whether financially, socially, or whatever the case may be. But that's what motivates us to be able to not let falling short or losses keeping us down too long, and not lingering and partying too long when we get wins.
All right, Coach. I know you got an engagement to get to, so I'm getting ready for the rest of this thing up, man. But being in the SWAC and being in the HBCU, what are some of y'all like rivalry, other teams and things of that nature, like other colleges, universities?
Man, pretty much every team in this conference is a rivalry, and that's what make the conference, like it is. People don't know that this the most attended conference far as attendance, far as games in the last 30 years, and you can go look it up. Because back in the day, we couldn't play UCA, we couldn't play Southern Miss, we couldn't play Mississippi State. So therefore, out of 5 or 7 games, we just went in a 3-4 hour radius and we played each other. When you go back and look at these rivals, some of these teams been playing each other since early 1900s. And now that's been going on ever since the early 1900s to the 30s to the 40s to the 50s to the 60s to the 70s to the 80s. So that's a lot of great grands passing down the history and legacy of the rivalry. So when you see Grambling come in and you wonder, man, how you get, 40,000 people just to play against Grambling? That's because the history and the mystique been passed down. Or you go to Valley, which is, one of the early attended, one of the last schools added, to the conference, far as age wise, and you still get, 20,000 people, in the stadium because of, how they travel. And so, man, that's really what sets the table, for the rivalry that's in the conference. But, from an HBCU standpoint, and everybody that show up on our schedule in conference really is a rivalry. And it's because back in the day, we couldn't play a lot of the non-HBCU teams, and therefore playing over all the years just created that natural rival and disdain for each other on the football field. But we know once it's all over, it's a lot of good tailgating and a lot of good eating going on in the fellowship once it's all done.
Now, with that being said, man, if y'all want to know what coaching is really about, man, y'all need to tune in to this particular episode. But with that being said, Coach Thomas, you got about 3 minutes before you go to your other spot. What else do you want to add, man, before we close this thing out? Anything else you want to? Do y'all have anything coming out there? I saw somebody like a signing day or something. What y'all got going on?
Yeah. Yes, February 7th, things are kind of slow down for us. We got a signing day gathering at the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame in Jackson. So you guys in the area, you're welcome to come through. Alcorn Nights, I know y'all gonna show up. Y'all always with it. Kid folks, I want to tell you, man, I love you. I appreciate everything you're doing. You just don't understand, the magnitude in which you helped me. Not from a physical standpoint, but the psychological part we was talking about. And I tell you all the time, but I want to give you flowers, bro, while you was here, because the Jedi mind trick will say something, and you be quiet, you like I told you. And then you sit back and then you do say something and you say, man, I got this dude doing everything I wanted to do. So that right there, just one thing, man, that I really appreciate. And then the other thing, mentally, you took me to a whole nother stratosphere, because I was just like any other Southern kid. It was Tupac, it was Master P, it was down south. And then I come in and I hear Abomatomically, and it was 8-syllable, 9-syllable words. And I'm like, what's that? And you're like, Wu-Tang, it's 36 chambers. I'm like, who? But at the time, mentally I wasn't prepared. So I was like, man, man, I don't want to hear that. But that was just me not understanding it. And I prided myself then, I'm gonna learn and know what's going on. And then it went from that to, Rakim and Biggie and all those guys, man, and Busta Rhymes and leader of the new school. So, man, I appreciate you, not only, taking me on that journey with you, because you always walk your own walk. You weren't worried about fitting in. You weren't worried about, that whole deal, man. It was all about you being you and staying true to who you are. And I always watched from afar as a little cousin to be like, yeah, because me, at one time I was trying to fit in. I might have been blue, red, orange,
Tiny
uh,
crew wanna
the
be.
nation, everybody, man. I'm just trying to find myself, what I'm saying? And I could watch you, T Rimmer, and guys who just was really steadfast on who they were. And when I got, and found out who I was, man, my life took off. And that's how I'm receiving the blessings. So I wanted to give you flowers, man, your platform, man. So ones like me from where we come from can get on and, talk that talk. But man, I love you and I appreciate everything, man. And anytime you need me to come through, I got you. Same thing, you want to at these games like you did at Texas Southern, man. I appreciate it, bro. I love you, Coach folks.
Gotcha, man. All right, coach, man. It's been fun. Hey, man, go do your thing, man. Love you, man. Bye.